Phone from Weston, Florida, near Fort Lauderdale, is Congresswoman Debbie Wasserman Schultz, representing parts of Fort Lauderdale and Miami Beach. And Congresswoman, how are folks in your area doing?
Well, we're in the midst of the tropical storm force winds that we were just talking about. We have pretty heavy gusts here. Weston, which is my hometown, is inland from the coast, about 20 miles just along the Everglades, and it is pretty significant wind, but not nearly as bad as hurricane force, and so our area is not, it looks like, going to be hit directly by the hurricane force winds, but it is and has been and continues to be an important preparation event, because we do have, since we've not had a hurricane hit Florida in over 10 years, Chris, we have millions of people who live here now, plus the tourists that visit here, who have not experienced a hurricane, and certainly not a hurricane of this magnitude. And so making sure that people prepared and are ready. I mean, I'm sitting in my hurricane-shuttered home. We have our 72 hours of supplies, because that's critical for the aftermath of a storm. And the other thing that we're all worrying about is right now the forecast track potentially could have it circle back around and hit us again. And so making sure that we are keeping our eye on this is really, really critical.
Since I have you on the phone, Congresswoman, and I know that politics are not front of mind for anyone on that coast at this moment because of the catastrophe, but there is, of course, the election. There are questions about voter registration. If you have massive millions of people moving around, possibly areas that they can't get back to. There was a request put in from the Clinton campaign for the voter registration deadline to be extended. My understanding is the Governor, Rick Scott, has said he will not be extending that deadline, and I wondered if you had a response to that.
Well, I'll be sending a letter signed by many members of the delegation whose districts have been experiencing and will have felt the full force of the magnitude of Hurricane Matthew tomorrow morning, formally asking him to extend that voter registration deadline. The deadline is this Tuesday, October 11th. Clearly, the responsible and essential thing to do is we have people who have been expecting to have a few extra days before that deadline to register to vote. That's the most fundamental right we have, is to be able to register and cast our ballot to select our leaders. And I certainly hope Governor Scott will, when he gets a formal request from representatives from the state of Florida representing these areas, that he'll reconsider, because there's certainly precedent for it, and it's absolutely critical that people have the ability to register to vote and make sure they can cast their ballot. This is an extremely consequential election. All we're asking, and my letter will ask him to extend the deadline to next Friday. That is certainly doable and won't make anything, it won't provide any additional hardship for our supervisors of elections, and I will be following up with Governor Scott after that letter goes out to him.
All right, Congresswoman Debbie Wasserman Schultz.